Where is your focus truly going? Let's be honest, there's always something to be upset about if that's what we choose to see. But the real question is, do you focus more on your past, your present, or your future? We all navigate between these three timelines, but where do you spend most of your time? Achievers usually keep their eyes on the future, chasing what's next. But here's the truth, all the joy, all the fulfillment, it lives in the present moment. Most people get trapped in the past, reliving moments they can't change, stuck in what's missing instead of being grateful for what's already there. And that creates suffering, because we start focusing on what we can't control. Remember, there are two worlds, the external and the internal. We may not control the outside world, but the inside. That's ours. That's where our real power lies. And even Tony Robbins, in his 2025 motivation video, emphasized this very point: when you control your focus, you reclaim your power. You get to choose the meaning of every moment. You get to choose your response. And once you master those choices, focus, meaning, and action, you start taking full control of your life. That's when fear and anxiety begin to dissolve. Especially when your purpose goes beyond yourself. Because real confidence, real peace, it comes from serving something greater than your own reflection. It looks unbelievable. Steph Curry, the greatest three-point shooter in basketball history, makes it look effortless. He shoots from half-court, turns away without watching, and the crowd erupts before the ball even hits the net. People see that and say, he's not human. He's a miracle. But what they don't see, is the grind. That shot isn't just talent, it's discipline. Steph takes 500 shots every single day. No breaks. 7 days a week. That's been his ritual for over 15 years, even before college. That's 3,500 shots a week. Over 168,000 a year. More than 2 million shots over his NBA career. So when he sinks a no-look shot, it's not magic, it's mastery. It's the result of relentless, invisible reps. As Tony Robbins always says, you get rewarded in public for what you practice in private. And that truth applies to every area of life. I believe everything happens for a reason. There's a divine purpose behind it all. But here's the catch, it's our responsibility to find it. Life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. And once we embrace that mindset, the real journey begins. Yes, you'll fight battles, inside and out. But if you stay the course, you'll slay your dragons. You'll rise as the hero of your own story. And the wisdom you'll gain isn't borrowed from a book, it's earned through scars, sacrifice, and strength. People will feel it. Because real growth isn't read, it's lived. And just when you think you've conquered your mountain, life hands you a bigger one. A new level. A new challenge. And the journey continues. But you know what? It's this journey, the battles, the growth, the breakthroughs, that makes life truly beautiful. Now here's a question many people struggle with: how do you build self-esteem if you're always hard on yourself? The truth is, maybe self-esteem isn't about being easy on yourself. Maybe it's not even about avoiding self-criticism. In fact, being hard on yourself isn't always bad, as long as you balance it by celebrating your wins. That celebration is what fuels momentum. So many people say, I have low self-esteem because of what people said to me when I was a child. And yes, those words leave a mark. But why is it that we so often remember the pain and forget the praise? Why do we hold on to wounds and let go of worth? Here's what Tony Robbins emphasizes in his latest message this year. Self-esteem isn't something you're given, it's something you earn. And only you can earn it, from yourself. No amount of praise from others will build it. Someone can call you a genius, beautiful, talented, but if you don't believe it, it won't land. On the flip side, someone could try to tear you down and say you'll never be anything, and you could turn that into your fuel. Many do. Because real self-esteem comes from doing the hard things. It's built in the moments when you want to quit but keep going. When you push past your limits, and you know, you earned that growth. That's the kind of belief no one can take away from you. Real self-worth doesn't come from praise. It doesn't come from flaunting your wins or trying to impress others. It's not about virtue signaling. True confidence, the kind that lasts, is quiet. It lives deep inside you, in your soul, and only you know it's real. Tony Robbins reminds us in this year's powerful message. You build real self-esteem by doing difficult things, especially when they matter more than just to you. It's not about easy victories. It's about meaning. When you commit to something bigger than yourself, something with purpose, your focus shifts. You stop obsessing over, am I good enough? Because your energy is now fueling something greater. And here's the secret. If you want unshakable self-esteem, stop thinking about yourself all the time. Find something you care about more than your own comfort. That's where real freedom begins. But the deeper question is this: what do you really want? An extraordinary life isn't about money or fame, it's about living life on your terms. For one person, that might be raising a loving family. For another, it's building a billion-dollar vision. For someone else, it's writing poetry in silence, far from the spotlight. It doesn't matter what it is, what matters is that it's authentic to you. Align your actions with your real desires, and take steps forward every day. And if, while chasing that dream, you also serve others, that's where purpose ignites. Because no amount of compliments or affirmations can replace the fire you feel when you're living for something meaningful. And no, it's not wrong to be tough on yourself. What matters is why you're doing it. If it's to grow, to rise, to serve, then it's not pressure, it's purpose. Look, I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty tough on myself too. But Tony Robbins, in this year's powerful motivational message, reminds us of something simple yet profound. Being too hard on yourself often comes from comparing your journey to someone else's, someone who had a completely different story, different struggles, and different timing. We all evolve at our own pace. We all want different things in life. And when you constantly measure yourself against others, you're playing a game that you were never meant to win. It only drains your energy, and when your energy drops, so does your joy, your creativity, your impact. Yes, hold yourself to a higher standard. Yes, be strong. But don't beat yourself down. Because the more you diminish your own light, the harder it becomes to shine for others. Tony says, true transformation doesn't come from punishing yourself. It comes from finding something bigger than yourself to obsess over. That's where lasting motivation lives. That's where your internal power starts to grow, not from fear or frustration, but from meaning. When Tony first started, he said he was fueled by anger, a fire to prove the world wrong. I'll show them, he thought. And sure, that fire can light a spark. But it doesn't last. That's push motivation. It's driven by pressure. Eventually, you've got to evolve to a higher fuel, one that doesn't come from needing to prove something, but from a deep knowing that you're enough, and your contribution matters. That's pull motivation. It pulls you forward naturally because you're no longer chasing validation. You're chasing vision. You're chasing purpose. Tony Robbins says, when you give your all every day, your gifts will make room for you. It's not about proving who you are. It's about knowing who you are, and then pouring that into the world to serve others. Yes, it takes tremendous willpower. And I know you have it. I have it too. But Tony Robbins said this in this year's motivational message, and it hit home. Willpower has limits. But pull is limitless. What does that mean? It means that willpower can get you started, but pull is what keeps you going. Pull comes from something greater than yourself. A purpose. A mission. A vision that wakes you up with energy instead of draining you with pressure. Tony calls it obsession with a cause, something so meaningful, so rich with purpose, that you can't help but move toward it every single day. That's where the fuel never runs dry. That's where joy lives, even in the struggle. He says it best. Where focus goes, energy flows. It might sound cliché, but it's absolute truth. We don't really experience life itself, we experience the part of life we focus on. Right now, there's always something wrong. But at the same time, there's always something right. And your life becomes what you consistently choose to focus on. Not toxic positivity, intelligent focus. Focus that serves your growth. Focus that energizes you instead of destroying you. Focus that opens you up to what's possible. Tony reminds us. Discipline your disappointments. Don't let them take root. Let them teach you, then move on. The moment you shift your focus, your brain asks, what does this mean? And meaning creates emotion. And emotion shapes your experience of life. So if you want to elevate your life, elevate your emotions. And if you want to elevate your emotions, shift your focus. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. We all have patterns. Patterns of what we focus on, what we have, or what's missing. And let's be honest, most people. They focus on what's missing. But that doesn't have to be you. Because the truth is, happiness doesn't come from having more. It comes from noticing more. You can actually engineer your life to have more joy, by choosing to focus on what's already working. But I get it, we all want to be taken seriously, to be seen, to be respected. That desire. It's usually fear in disguise. Fear that we're not enough. That we're being overlooked. That we have to prove something. Tony Robbins said it powerfully. Spiritual development is your ability to be deeply comfortable with who you really are. Not who you're trying to become. Not your projection. Just you. The real you. That doesn't mean stop growing. It means grow from a place of wholeness, not lack. Because when you accept and appreciate who you already are, you stop wasting energy. You stop carrying pain that was never yours to begin with. And fear? It fades. There's no shortcut. This is the hero's journey. You show up. You do your part. You give everything you have. And then, you trust. Let life flow through you. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start declaring, this is happening for me. Because in the end, it always is. If you're willing to dig deep enough to find the meaning, you'll find the gift. But here's the thing, it's got to be earned. Wishing for confidence without building competence. That's not optimism. That's delusion. Confidence comes from evidence. Evidence that says, I've faced the fire before, and I didn't back down. I didn't run. I grew. You want real freedom? Then you can't be the victim, not anymore. The story of what happened to you. That's not who you are. That's not where your future is. Let me ask you. Have you ever had something happen in your life that was devastating? Something that cracked you open? You'd never want to live through it again. You wouldn't wish it on someone you love. But now, years later, you can look back and say, that was the moment everything changed. Not because it broke you, but because it built something inside of you. It gave you depth, compassion, strength, meaning. Maybe that pain is the very reason you care so much now. The reason you're no longer willing to settle. The reason you want to make an impact. Sometimes, you've got to stop and look at all the ways you've compensated just to survive. All the beliefs you've carried that kept you small. And then realize. The light that came out of all that darkness. That's the part of you you're most proud of. That's where your story begins, not ends. So maybe being a little alone as a kid made you fiercely self-reliant as an adult. Maybe not having much support taught you to bet on yourself, again and again. You go through this strange loop. From not even knowing what you don't know, to realizing how those early struggles held you back, to finally seeing how they actually pushed you forward. And then you reach a difficult but powerful place where you hold two truths at once. I wish this hadn't happened to me. And yet, I'm grateful it did. It's like a psychological superposition. You can't collapse those feelings into one or the other. You have to carry both at the same time. If your 36-year-old self could meet your 12-year-old self, you'd pick them up, hold them close, and say, I believe in you. You don't deserve this pain, but it needs to happen. It's meant to be. Now, I don't think everything is destined or fated. But I do believe situations happen. And it's our choice whether we let them use us, or we use them to build ourselves. Life gives us both easy times and tough times. And if you've done the work early on to really know yourself, you find peace. Because you are grounded in who you truly are. Now, you have something even greater. Someone by your side. Someone who loves you and sees you clearly. That's the foundation for everything that comes next.